Welcome back to the channel. Today I am working with Makera on the Carvera Air, which I'm very excited about because this is a desktop CNC machine. And if you guys know me in the channel, I designed a bunch of parts and I love CNCing parts. The only issue is a lot of CNC machines are like $500,000. The great thing about these is they're under $3,000, which is cool. And then they have one with a 6 tool changer, I believe is in like the under $6,000 range, which is awesome. It's a little bit bigger as well. So this thing I want to try out. I know there's gonna be a learning curve, but I've already been messing with the software a little bit. And so far it's been a lot easier than using Mastercam. So it's almost a mix between Mastercam and 3D printing software. So you can just pretty much go in there and just have it run a tool path and you just select all the tools. You can put in your own specifications or you can use their specifications. If you're interested in one of these machines, I will put a link in the description. On these, there is a power button on the back as well as your power cord and your USB cable. Also have the connection for your start stop button, which is very important because if anything is going to collide or if something accidentally does collide, you hit the stop button, it instantly stops the machine. The great thing about these, even though it's a desktop CNC machine, you have a quite large build plate. So you can do quite a few different things. There's a few things that I want to do, but today I just want to do a carving of the emblem that I designed for the Hellcat Magnum over there. I think that'll be a really good test. Running the tool paths, I'm going to have to do a few different tool changes. Another thing that's really cool about these is it has a touch probe. So as you can see here, another thing that the normal CNC machines don't have the ability to do is this has a laser in it and it also has a touch probe. So if I have a piece of aluminum or whatever it may be, a surface that is curved and I want to engrave something on it, it can engrave, like if I wanted to engrave something on this round side of this piece of extruded aluminum, I could plot points on it and it would engrave everything the same depth. And you could use it as a 2D sketch to engrave something on a 3D pattern, which is really cool. I think that is something on these Carvera Airs that is very unique that I've never seen. And if you had to do it in Mastercam, it would be a nightmare. So, and you'd have a bunch of different tooling paths and it just makes it very simple, like a 3D printer. 2 pieces of aluminum chucked in here, but they have all these straps and all the hold downs, and they have a little piece of, I guess it's like OSB that can protect the build plate, or not really the build plate, but the bottom plate that you mount everything to. And you have all the straps like you would on a normal CNC machine, just in a smaller scale. Another thing is they give you a bunch of different kits. So this is the full kit. It comes with the electronics kit, it comes with the laser engraving kit. It also has a 4th axis, so it's kind of like a mini lathe, and I can do round things and carve. I don't have any use for this right now. I'm most likely going to have a use for this, but I haven't designed anything. It needs to be in this sizing so it could fit in the machine. But they give you kits. It has all the tools. So these tools are really nice. This is to just screw these in and out, which is very unique. And it also is very nice because it's just something you could hold in your hand, and then all these little mounting screws for the straps, and then you have these for the build plate. And it's just really nice how everything's set up. And then you have a lot of different little engraving bits and all of these different things for metal, wood, plastic. And really with this setup, you can do a bunch of different stuff. The other thing is it comes with a bracket to hold a tablet. The one thing that I've noticed on my laptop, uploading, so you have to upload, and I'll show you this, you have to upload your file to the machine, and it actually saves it on the machine. So if your laptop dies or whatever it may be, you need to take your laptop somewhere else, it's on the machine, it'll continue to run without the interface plugged in. The only issue I have seen so far is this laptop. I use it for tuning and it's very slow. It doesn't have a lot of RAM, and transferring the file takes quite a bit. If it's a really large file, it'll take quite a bit of time to transfer it. But on my desktop, which is very fast, it transfers in like a minute. So if you have a slower laptop or a tablet or whatever you may be using, just remember it is going to take a little bit longer to transfer. It's not the machine, it's just the computing power of your laptop, because there is a lot of tool paths, especially when you just do it as like a 3D print. Pretty much it's just subtracting instead of adding. So I now have a lot larger piece of aluminum here, so we're not going to have any issues with it coming off of the workpiece. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to run the probe, confirm, and you can see the little laser in there. It's going to touch off, wham, bam. And the nice thing is it comes up a lot, so you're not going to collide on anything on the workpiece. Oh yeah, we're right on there now. This is going to be great. And I think my main issue is so I said it had a pretty large piece of aluminum in there, and this is just showing the outside outline of the stock that I selected when I did all the cam stuff in their program. But it's really nice because it's just gonna literally touch this thing off. Ooh, I don't know. I think it's too far over. I think it's too far over. I think it's gonna hit. Okay, we're gonna need to do an offset right here. So we're gonna come over here, config. We'll just do 1 and 1, and that should. Oh, actually, that's what's going on here. -1, -1. -2, -2. Okay, let's try to figure out what's going on here. I think the red dot. Okay, so the red dot. Oh, maybe I should just look at the colors on here. So the red dot is where the Z probe is going to touch off. Let's run this again. It's crazy when it's doing this, it seems like it's going so slow, but once it starts cutting, it's just like crazy fast. Now we should be good. Oh yeah. That works out a lot better when you pay attention to color. All right. I really like this, that it touches off for height. That's crazy that it does that. Click confirm. It's going to do it again. Just touch it off. I can't believe that. Oh, we need to close this. So far, everything has been cutting really good. The only issue that I've seen in the software is you can see, or you can hear, it's not actually cutting anything. The only file I had for this emblem, because I lost the CAD file, was an STL. So I'm just doing a profile path. The bad thing is the software doesn't recognize that the profile has already been cut. So it's going over it and over it and over it multiple times, actually more than multiple times. I just noticed it says there's 101 hours to go. And as you can see, it's only doing that because it's cutting this depth, because it's cutting the emblem almost all the way down through the piece of metal. So then once it is finished, then I can flip the piece of metal over and face it off, and then the emblem will just fall out of it. The problem with that is every time it does one of these passes for the outside, it's gonna redo the whole profile for the whole thing over again. And that is probably the case for every other pass after that, because it's going to have a tool change, and then we're gonna go into two other tools, because there's a lot of details that this larger 12mm bit can't get into. So I think that's something in the software that they're gonna have to address, because it's just wasting a lot of time. It should know that it's already done the profile and that it doesn't need to go back over it a million more times. But other than that, the hardware and the software so far has amazed me. This is so much easier than Mastercam. And if you just have an STL file, I mean, you could CNC something off an STL file. That's pretty much unheard of, just because you'd have to have a DXF, or you'd have to have a CAD file, and then they'd have to run that through Mastercam, make all the machining G code, so then you could actually machine this. Not even doing a G code and it machining this well just off of an STL is pretty amazing if you ask me. But what I'm gonna do is I'm going to end up stopping this because I don't want this thing to run for 100 hours for no reason, just to cut down in that path. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop it, and then I'm going to redo the code. And maybe that's why it took so long to upload, because it was doing a profile of the whole thing, because I was going to do it in the final step was going to be, where is it at? It's not the thing, it's the engraving bit. So it's a super fine tip. And I was just going to do that because I didn't have a small enough bit to do all the detail. But what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to stop it. I should be able to restart it after I put the new G code in, because nothing's going to move. And we should be able to fix this issue with the software, because I'm going to do it in an STL, or I'm going to make the STL a CAD file, and then I could run actual tool paths through it instead of doing a, hopefully it'll work, or I'll just redo the whole thing instead of just doing a profile path. So let's stop this. The stop button works like this. Bam! Instantly stops like any CNC machine, which kind of makes me sad, because I was hoping to have this whole emblem done, but it has come out really nice so far. Look at all these chips. Now that fan is ripping. Wow. I need to vacuum all these chips out of here. But man, it did a really good job. Well, I mean, it was a really big bit. This 12 mil bit. The bit looks good. The only thing this laptop is my biggest pet peeve. This thing doesn't have a charging port, and you have to charge it through the USB. But when you're using the USB, you can't charge it. So yeah, I'm gonna have to upgrade this laptop. I need a better one anyway for 3D scanning. Another thing I want to show is, you can see we have a little tiny 12 millimeter bit, and it's an end mill. So it's milling across this to make it smooth. You're not gonna believe this. This doesn't have any edges. It doesn't have any ripples or bumps or anything. It's perfectly smooth. It is crazy. Like, wow. That's amazing. That is, for a desktop CNC machine, you know, you would think there'd be chatter marks, because I mean, it is a pretty small bit. It doesn't have any cooling. It doesn't have any coolant, and it's moving pretty quick for the size, the material, not having coolant or air blowing on it, and it's still machining really smooth. Now, after you get it loaded into the machine, you need to come right here, start running G-code. So right here, you can change your set work origin. So you can change where the material is being machined at. So if I machine this and then want to machine another one and another one and another one, I can keep going. But the great thing is it will auto home, and then it'll auto level before it does the work area or does the next machining. So you don't have to worry about it not coming out the same each time. Blue light is flashing right here, and what it's telling me to do, so I have my laptop closed and I want to try this without opening the laptop, because you should be able to run this without a laptop connected. So it wants you to change the tool. So I need to go to the next tool size, which is this single flute engraving bit for metal. It's an 1/8 inch shake, 30 degrees, 0.3 millimeters. After I change it, I'll hit the button and it should reposition it to make sure, and then it should finish cutting it. But so far, I mean, this is so smooth just for like how small that bit is. And that bit looks like it's doing pretty well. I mean, it doesn't look like it has any pieces broken off of it. It doesn't look like there's any chatter mark. After all of this cutting, the bit still looks good. It doesn't look like it's gotten too hot. And I haven't had the air on because I don't have an air compressor for this thing yet. So, so far so good. We'll put this bit back in the case. And I really like these cases because they hold the bit and just tells you exactly what it is. Now for the other bit, comes out. These ones are actually pretty sharp because they are a detailing bit. And the same thing, just gonna put it right in here. Go like that. Should be good. Now, moment of truth. Should be able to hit this button right here. Oh man, this is awesome. And it should just touch right off. Oh, let's close this before it starts flinging metal. My laptop ended up running out of power, and I think we're close to 10 hours in cutting this logo out for the Hellcat Magnum. The one thing I'm going to suggest, in this machine is working flawlessly. The bits are flawless. I'm very surprised at how well it works. But if anything is taken away from this, I think that they need to revise the software to be a little bit closer to Mastercam, where you can do a few tool paths, because it doesn't really make sense. We're wasting a ton of time in it just tracing everything out. So this is an STL file, and all it's doing is pretty much just tracing it back and forth. The only issue is it doesn't seem like it knows that it's already cut material off. So all the letters that it already kind of roughed in, it's still going over those each time. And that's kind of just wasting a ton of time. Another thing is how it's going. So the first few passes, it should have been doing just across like this. And if you change it to circular, it'll do circle. but it won't follow the profile of the part. So right now on the outside it's doing it, but on the letters, it should just be following the letters around. So it makes them a lot more crisp. I think it's still gonna be fine, but it would just be that little cherry on top where the machining would be a little bit more crisp. And then on the emblem part, it should just be able, you should just be able to go in there and select and be able to do that whole feature at once instead of it going over like lines over and over and over again. You're just wasting probably 75% more time. So hopefully they end up resolving that. But besides that little software issue, I mean, just out of the box, being able to throw an STL file, a picture, a circuit board picture, and be able to just go in and cut it is really amazing. This is just really pretty much 3D printer technology in subtractive manufacturing. I now have a pretty cool cutout emblem right there. The first one here, I was going to actually continue going with it, but the issue is I recessed it 5 millimeters because what I need to do is I still need to cut it from the back and then it'll just pretty much fall out. But since this was 5 millimeters down, it was just tracing that the whole time. And that's what really added up to 100 hours of machining time, because for some reason they have it in the software where you can't just have it go. And let's say, we come in here with the first pass. So this right here is the first pass, and you can see the T. It does a really good job. It's pretty crisp. The only thing I have a kind of a problem with on these is it should come in. You can see that this was a circular pattern and this is a linear. So just going back and forth like this. This is going all the way around and cutting as it goes. But when it gets to the letters, it should come, cut up, and cut around like this, and I think it'd be more of a crisp edge. So in Mastercam, you can pretty much tell it where you want it to cut and how you want that path to go. The software obviously is free, so it's one of those things where it's really nice because you can get into machining for pretty much buying a machine and then just uploading STL files. But it would be really nice if you could come in here and tell it, I want you to do this first pass right here, and then know that it's already done that pass. So you're not going back over it for no particular reason other than just because you're tracing it. So, and then as it's doing that, this is a pretty crisp line right here. Last process was a 30-degree engraving bit. So really, it's doing a really good job at actually having a crisp line because all it's doing is going over it and it's not actually tracing out the letter. If it traced out the letter, it would be even more crisp of a line. So it'd be nice if that kind of was something that could be added into the software where you can pretty much go in, do the first cut, then it knows that the first cut has been done. It doesn't need to go back over it. And then once you get to the part where you're going to do the detailing, it goes and comes in around it. The same thing here. So like the eye or the ear or the mouth right here or anything in here, it almost would be nice if you could come in and tell it to just do that pass is one pass, consistent pass all the way down until it's complete, and then go and move on to the next pass like you would do in Mastercam. So then you're not wasting a bunch of time with really redundant steps that don't need, we probably could have done this even with this machine, I would say in 3 hours. And this is a pretty big emblem. I mean, this is a pretty big piece of metal that was in the machine. I mean, this machine, even though it's small, you can do pretty large stuff. But I think this could have been done in 3 hours, completely done. Both sides cut out. Really didn't have any issues, just some of the pet peeves that really just added time into the process, which really shouldn't have been there in the first place. But at the end of the day, it's a very cost-effective machine that you can get your hands on, put it in a small space, not have a bunch of noise. So it just finished. And that fan is ripping. Oh, I thought it was going to be loose. Man, this machine, it's crazy how good it works. So you can see the reason why you put these little cardboard pieces on the build plate is I measured this and I can't believe it didn't touch it. Look at that. It is just hanging on in there by a thread, but it didn't, it cut all the way through right there, but it didn't touch the build plate at all. And the reason why you use those cardboard little spacers right here is it gives you a little bit of leeway so you don't actually dig into it and then mess up this plate down here. So I machined this little piece after I did the Hellcat emblem, and as you can see, there is a few little takeaways, and I think it might be because I need to play with the software a little bit more, maybe not, but you can see on these edges right here, it didn't actually get to it, and I think that's a cam issue or a software issue. And then after it cut this, and then cut this profile right here, it did the hole, but it did it like it didn't know that this was already machined. So instead of starting down here where it already machined it, it started at the top and worked its way down, which is perfectly fine because this is a small part. But when you're doing larger parts and it's going over things that have already been cut, it just adds a lot of time, like I've said before. And it really worked well. I mean, the build plate and the auto leveling, I didn't even have to go on the back side and cut it because it cut perfectly to the edge as long as you put in the right thickness of metal, and it didn't even touch the cardboard on the build plate, which is another amazing thing on this machine, because most of the time you're kind of worried about if you're going to collide or you're just gonna cut down and then you're going to flip it over and then you're going to face it. This way I only had to do one cut and it worked out really well. So you know, this software is there, but it could use a little fine tuning, and this machine is awesome. I can't believe you can make parts like this at home and then just go and put them on the car for as cheap as you can. I'm going to end the video here. If you're interested in one of these machines, I will put a link in the description. It's just awesome to be able to have one of these on your desk and just go in and machine something. And if you like these videos, make sure to click the subscribe button, throw a thumbs up, throw a comment below what you think of these machines and what you would want to machine on one of these things. And as always, see you guys next time.